Good morning, leadership and my fellow classmates. Today, I will be presenting my senior capstone project titled Gamifying Confidence, a framework for portfolio development in creative media. This project looks at how we can use game design elements to support students in building creative portfolios with more structure, motivation, and confidence. Once again, aloha. My name is Binh. Though I go by a creative pseudonym with Hero, I'm a four-year student here at West Oahu, majoring in creative media with a concentration in video game design development. Graduated from Maynard Evans High School in 2005, so I'm probably like the oldest person here in the amongst my classmates. And I've had a long passion for video games, not just as a form of entertainment, but also as a tool for education, personal development, and emotional resilience. Through my work as Hero, I explore how game design principles can be applied to help others, especially students, overcome challenges like perfectionism, and build confidence through interactive systems. This passion directly shaped the focus of my capstone project. Moving on. So, number one, I'll begin by outlining the overall plan for the capstone project, what I'm building, who's it's for, and why does it matter. Then I'll walk through the research questions and methodologies, which focuses on understanding how gamification affects confidence, motivation, and portfolio engagement amongst creative media students. Next, I'll explain the rationale behind the project, the motivation for using gamification as a solution, supported by existing literature and student experiences. I'll then discuss the significance of this project by including both its emotional value for students and its broader educational implications. From here, I'll go to the capstone prototype plans, including technical details like the Unity WebGL stack, Firebase integration, and the core features of the platform. Finally, I'll describe how the project will be evaluated and the deliverables, which includes such mockups as flowcharts and feedback loops for user testing. So this statement captures the core argument of my capstone project, that gamification can serve as a bridge to help students overcome the confidence barriers that often face in portfolio development. By applying game design elements like progression systems, feedback loops, and reward mechanisms, we can foster motivation and support students emotionally and behaviorally as they work through their creative projects. These systems provide more than just structure, they deliver a sense of accomplishment through viable, visible progress, encouragement through peer validation, and clarity through goal oriented design. This helped reduce perfectionism, a major hurdle for many creative students that promote sustained engagement through portfolio building process. The long-term vision is transform what is often seen as a stressful, high stakes task to a more interactive and more empowering experience, tailoring specifically to the needs of the students in creative media disciplines. So this slide's explaining the core motivation behind my capstone project and why this is important for creative media students. First, through my own experiences and conversation with peers, I found that many creative students face confidence barriers, which comes from developing their portfolios. These portfolios are often developed deeply personal, and students can feel exposed or unsure how their work will be received. Second, there are recurring patterns of perfectionism, fear of criticism, and great lack of structure, which leads to students to procrastinate or totally abandon their portfolio entirely. This results in missed opportunities for internship, scholarships, and job applications. That's where gamification comes in. The research shows that gamification provides structured progression, frequent feedbacks, and rewarding systems, elements that help students stay motivated and reduce emotional weight and task. My project proposed a framework that applies these mechanisms specifically to portfolio development, turning a typically overwhelmed task to a more engaging, goal-oriented process. So this slide outlines the core development of my plan. of my senior capstone project, which centers on building the prototype for a gamification web platform designed to support creative media students building their professional portfolio. The main deliverable is a functioning prototype that uses gamification to reduce perfectionism and boost motivation, something many students struggle with during portfolio development. By incorporating systems like progress tracking, badges, quests, and peer interactions, the platform provides a more engaging and structured environment than traditional checklist-based systems. On a technical side, I'm more of an engineer. The platform will be built with Unity WebGL for a web browser-friendly front end, supported by a Fire-based back end to handle authentication, user data, and progression storage. I'm also exploring the integration of a React-based front end. Its time and scope allowed to increase interface flexibility and responsiveness. Ultimately, this project is grounded in research and showing that game design elements like feedback loops and rewards can help users overcome fear of critique and decision paralysis. The final goal is to provide a research-backed framework that can scale beyond this prototype into a broader educational application. Before I dive into the technical details, I want to explain why this project matters to me, both emotionally and academically. The next section will I'll recover real world significance and professional potentials of my framework. At its core, this project introduced a gamified framework designed to support creative media students in developing their portfolios. It's more than a tool. It's a structured system that blends game design elements with structural educational goals to address real psychological developmental needs. First, the framework fosters psychological empowerment. Many students struggle with the fear of critique, perfectionism, or decision paralysis that can stall their creative progress. By incorporating features like quests, progress tracking, and reward system, the platform creates a low pressure, encouraging environment where students feel safe, taking creative risks, and move forward, even when their work isn't perfect. Second, a professional development standpoint, the framework simulates key industry experiences such as feedback loops, revision cycles, and peer validations. These elements help students practice professional habits in a safer, more supportive space, building readiness and confidence for the future opportunities. And finally, the potential impact of this framework goes beyond the creative media discipline. While it's tailored to support students and portfolio-based program, the underlying structure could be adapted to benefit other fields, especially where project-based work and self-directed growth are central. This model has room to grow in a broader educational and professional development tool. One of the most important aspects of this project is its unique contributions to creative education. While gamified platforms like Duolingo or Habatica are well designed and effective at encouraging repetition and task completions, they tend to focus on generalized structured goals like learning vocabulary or managing daily habits. In contrast, my framework is best specifically for creative media students who often deal with perfectionism, creative anxiety, and the challenge of expressing a unique personal identity through their work. To clarify the difference, let's take a look at how a tool like Duolingo structures motivation. Duolingo is the most recognizable gamified learning platform. It uses similar mechanics like streaks, badge, experience points, and levels to encourage daily engagement. However, its structure is largely linear and correctness-based. Its reward consistency and precision, which works extremely well for language acquisition, but not translate effectively to creative project development. There's little room for open-ended exploration or reflecting on progress beyond performance scores. That's a big gap for students in creative disciplines. Now let's take a quick look at another popular example, Habatica, which adds a different type of flexibility. So Habatica explains a gamified productivity by allowing users to create and manage their own goals, whether they're drinking more water, studying, or writing every day. It uses a party system, daily check-ins, and rewards to motivate users through customization and social accountability. But even with this flexibility, Habatica is still fundamentally a task manager. It doesn't offer the kind of feedback-driven, identity-forming space that creative media students need. There's no peer validation, no creative iteration, no progression system that supports students as they build a cohesive, reflective portfolio. That's the gap of my framework. It is designed to fill by providing a low stakes, feedback rich environment where students can experiment, grow, and share their creative voice in a structured yet flexible way. Since I'm in a creative prototype phase of the development, I've collected, I haven't collected a large scale quantitative data as of yet. However, this is a simulated chart and it's informed by earlier feedback users and established trends in the gamification research by Hamari, highlighted through gamification consistently improves engagements and task performance in educational settings. Similarly, Schwartz and Webb found that structured portfolio development, especially when paired with reflection and feedback, can significantly boost student confidence and completion rates. These findings support the projected trends illustrated here. This chart visualizes how students might correspond or respond over 10 a 10-week period when using a gamified platform for portfolio development, mirroring a typical academic term or capstone timeline. Starting on the left side, the chart weeks 1, 2, and 3, we relatively see low engagement and task completion. This reflects initial uncertainty while students face, especially those dealing with perfectionism or lack of structured motivation. Between week 4 and 6, engagements began to rise as gamified features such as progress tracking, badge rewards, and peer feedback portals are introduced. These mechanics help break tasks into manageable steps and refine positive progress. By week 7 to 10, both engagements and task completions trend upward steadily between 80% to 85%. This model is more confident, self-directed learner benefiting from regular feedback and clear milestones. While the data is simulated, it's grounded in theory and empirical research. This visualization helped the potential real-world impact of implementing my framework within creative media capstone environments. So this project, again, is designed with specific group users in mind. Primarily, the primary audience is the upper division creative media students, especially those who are actively developing the portfolio for graduation, internships, or entry into the industry. Many of these students struggle with perfectionism, creative anxiety, or lack of structure, factors that can lead to delayed or incomplete work. The platform aims to provide motivational support that directly addresses these challenges. The secondary audience includes educators and instructional designers who are looking for innovative ways to engage students, particularly in project-based or self-directed learning environments. By integrating game design principles, this framework can serve as a new tool for students and faculty to promote confidence, sustain engagement, and meaningful creative output. The goal is to introduce a solution that blends psychological theory with the game design principles, not just to motivate students, but to be meaningfully supportive creative development. The intellectual significance lies in creating a framework that combines concepts like intuitive motivation, self-determination theory, and structured feedback with a common game mechanics like quests, rewards, and progress systems. This creates more of an emotionally intelligent learning environment. The problem this solves is something I've seen firsthand. Many creative media students get stuck due to perfectionism, fear of critique, or decision paralysis, which often leads into incomplete or delayed portfolios. By gamifying structure and reflection, the platform provides motivation, momentum, and low pressure space to help students keep moving forward and finishing their work with confidence. The development of this project is structured around 3 core phases, modeled after production pipeline familiar to both game development and media correction. I propose the first phase is, pre-production, which focuses on research, survey design, and building out the conceptual framework that includes identifying user pain points like perfectionism and motivation loss, and mapping those challenges to gamified interventions. Next is the production phase where I'm actively developing the platform core features such as a progress tracker, a badge system, and a peer portal. These features are informed by my research and users' feedback gathered early in the process. Finally, the post-production phase will include user testing, gather feedback, and making final refinements to the prototype. This ensures that the solutions not only works as intended, but is also meaningful to be usable for the intended audience. This three-phase process helps the project focus iterative and grounded in both research and real user needs. One of the key deliverables for this capstone is a set of interface mockups that demonstrate how the platform core features will function. It's like a mockup game that I kind of made, but just kind of show concept. This includes a progress tracker, which gives students visual representation of their portfolio journey from submitting an idea to completing the final version. It provides structure and celebrates milestones along the way. The next is the badge system, which offers motivation through visual achievements tied to task completions like uploading a draft or receiving peer feedback. Lastly, the quest generator introduces low stake options tasks that guide students toward consistent progress, similar to how side quests in games help build momentum and confidence. These mockups are only a visual on the user interface. I'm not like a super high-end designer, but I'm putting concept into something that's relatable based on my research. But they also serve as a foundation for user testing and iteration during the post-production phase. In addition to visual mockups, another core deliverable is this flowchart, which maps the typical user journey through the platform. It begins with the student submitting an idea, then moves through stages like uploading a draft, receiving a peer feedback, refining the portfolio, and finally completing the project. This flow helps clarify how users will interact with systems over time and how gamified elements like badges, feedback loops, and task milestones support their progress at each steps. The goal is to create a clear, structured path that motivates students to stay engaged and reach completion while still allowing room for iteration and reflection throughout the process. Another important deliverable is example layout for the badge system and peer portal, two key features designed to promote motivation and peer interaction. The badge system rewards students for completing meaningful actions like submitting a draft, reviewing peers, or hitting milestones. These visual rewards help reinforce and the sense of progress and achievement similar to in-game accomplishments. The peer portal allows students to view and exchange feedback on each other's work in a structured environment. Encourage a community practice while reducing the pressure of traditional critique. Together, these tools help sustain engagement, boost accountability, and foster a more reflective, collaborative learning experience. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I am happy to take any questions or feedback you have. Thank you very much for your time.